Standby like Q's 2 through 33, sound 1A through 7. On deck, standby Q actors. Electrics, kill the blue run lights, please. Like Q 2 and sound 1A. Go.
From Arizona Theater Company, this is Hang in Focus with your host, Jon Daniels.
As someone that grew up in Arizona, it's a great way for us to be able to share the work that we do worldwide.
And featuring co-host Chanel Bragg. Streaming live from the State Theater of Arizona.
So let's do it. Let's really use this moment to re-envision ourselves.
Welcome to Hang in Focus, live with Jon Daniels. On today's show, Jon welcomes new executive producer of The Second City, Jon Carr.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome Chanel Bragg, my co-host there.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Sean. You're looking too GQ today.
Well, you got to pull it together every now and then. So today was an exciting day. We announced 2 upcoming readings that we have going on. One an audio play and one a musical. Why don't I talk about one and you talk about the other to spread them out?
Absolutely.
So the first one that's coming up, right, is that we're going to do an audio play of The Heath by Lauren Gunderson. Many of our people know Lauren. She's the most produced playwright in the country, 2 out of the last 3 years. And it's an autobiographical work. It's actually her first autobiographical work about her and her grandfather. And really, she thought they had so many differences. And really, only after he passed away did she realize that she should have been looking for similarities and not differences in the 2 of them. So it's a beautiful story. And it's also about King Lear. Because, of course, it's not a Lauren Gunderson play if there's not Shakespeare and science woven into it. And so playing her grandfather and King Lear is John Larroquette, who is a 4, maybe 5-time Emmy Award winner and Tony Award winner. And but I know him, of course, from Night Court, right?
That's why
over and over to be able to do it. And he's joining them. So, and Lauren is actually playing herself, right? So this is actually an autobiographical work that she's done, but she's always had other actresses play her because she's busy. So be able to do it. And if you don't know, it was also just announced today that The Time Traveler's Wife, the book, is being turned into a musical for the West End to be able to do. And Lauren Gunderson is doing the book for that. So she's having she's
on fire.
That's right.
Lauren is on fire.
But we're thrilled to have her, be part of the Arizona Theater Company family and for her to want to premiere her autobiographical work with us. And so that's going to be coming up in April. And so we're thrilled about that. And then in May.
Well, number one, I want to piggyback real quick. It's just really rare to see a playwright play themselves in a work. So this is a very rare, interesting, amazing offering. And of course, John Larroquette. So I'm super excited. And then in May, we have Somewhere Over the Border. So we're doing this autobiographical series. And this is a beautiful story by the composer and playwright Brian Quijada. It's about his mom and how she journeyed and her immigration journey from El Salvador into the United States. And it is heartwarming. When I when I read it, I could not put it down. I read it like in one sitting. I was like at my kitchen table, and then I didn't get back up because I was just so enthralled. And it's a gorgeous story. It's a very poignant story, and I think extremely relevant to right now. And so we're really excited to do that work. And yeah, we can't wait for you to see it. And we did a musical on Zoom. How about that?
I know.
Yeah, we're pulling out all the stops for you in the spring, everyone.
And Somewhere Over the Border is directed by Reg Douglas, who is the Associate Artistic Director at Studio Theater. But forever, he was secretly or not secretly running the City Theater in Pittsburgh. And so, I just feel like between Larroquette and Brian and Reg and Lauren, these are 4 of my favorite artists. And I can't wait, once we get through Romero Fest, which is a month of celebrating Elaine, to be able to move on to share these other artists with our audience.
Absolutely. And we kick off with our first guest for the Romero Fest next week with Karen Zacharias. So we're really excited about that. And so stay tuned the entire month of March and April. We got some exciting things coming to you.
Oh my God, so much hype. But all right, today is a special day for us. We have the new executive producer of Second City. And here's the fun thing. He was, when he took over, he wasn't allowed to do any interviews for a period of time, right? Because he's got to get his feet wet. And today is the first day that he is allowed to do interviews out. So, of course, we wanted to have him on to be able to talk about the show. So let's introduce Jon Carr, who is
come on out.
Hello, Jon. Oh, and he's gone.
There we go.
Hi, Jon.
Technology. Hello.
Yeah. So just to clear it up, Jon, you're sitting in an empty house at this moment. Does that mean you're moving very shortly?
I am. This is my empty bookshelf because I am going to be a Chicagoan. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I will be a Chicago resident I guess Saturday after next. So I'm excited.
That's fantastic. I've known Jon for a long time, for 20 years. Is that true?
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy.
Which is amazing because we're both 35. So I'm unprepared right to be able to do.
It's a great feat.
That's right. We were small children on the playground. And I just got to say, I'm so thrilled for you. I love it when, great opportunities come to great people. And it just feels like I was so, you and I talked early on when you were a finalist for the job, and to see if I had any advice, which I had none, and you still made it. And I'm just so thrilled because I feel like this is such the right moment for you, and you're so deserving, and you're such a community builder in terms of what it is, on top of being a hilarious guy yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. And, it's crazy too, just kind of our lives and how it's kind of circled around, just because you were the first artistic director of Dad's Garage Theater. And then I came in as the last artistic director of Dad's Garage. And it's been really cool because, growing up as an improviser and performer, Sean was always kind of this figure that loomed in the Dad's Garage pantheon. And so every once in a while he would come and visit or share some stuff or write something. And I got so much out of the work that you did, out of kind of the example and the leadership that you laid with Dad's Garage, and kind of really was able to follow that blueprint as I was coming in, and just been a super helpful person throughout my career. So I've always appreciated that about you.
You're so smooth. I love how smooth you are. I love how I gave you a compliment and you were like, shut it down.
Also, you had a compliment.
I know. To be able to do
I always tease Sean about how fancy he is and how famous he is. And he's like, no, I'm not. But you just proved that.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's a comedy legend.
So I want to talk through it all, but can we start off first with the big question that I think people are interested in? Before about over the summer, there were some accusations at Second City that they had racist environments, that they had environments that were unfriendly to improvisers of color. And I know one of your things you really wanted to do was to change the culture from the inside out. And you did that in Atlanta, right? You did several different things to be able to bring the community together. What steps have you taken, or are you planning to take now that you're at Second City, to not only kind of combat what's been happening in the past, but to make sure that type of behavior doesn't happen in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things is I want to make sure that I don't take credit for stuff that I didn't do, but a lot of Anthony LeBlanc was the executive producer before I got there. So between Andrew Alexander stepping down and me taking over, Anthony LeBlanc was there. And with him and a lot of his team, they already took a lot of steps. And I have a lot of respect for a lot of the leadership because, a lot of them recognize and acknowledge the mistake that they made and then step down. And when you look at the senior staff of Second City right now, when you talk about the four big positions, the chief operating officer, the chief financial officer, the president, and the executive producer, now half of those people are people of color now. And so just immediately there was this shift in what they were doing. And so from the top down, there's been, and it's also one of those things where we want to make sure that we're diversifying the staff, but it's not just diversifying in a random way, it's diversifying for key positions, right? So it's right now our casting director is a woman of color. Our HR lead, Ashley, is a woman of color. So it's not just diversifying across the board, but also diversifying in key areas and leadership positions. And so seeing that stuff already taking place when I got here was a great indicator that like when they say they want to change, they were being sincere about it. I think we've got a lot of exciting things that we've got ahead of us. We've started, just convened a DEI council that's made up of full-time staff members within Second City, so that we're able to take some of the decisions, and we're not just kind of going out and doing these things, but we have a board of advisors that we're running these things by to make sure that we're taking into account intersectionality, all the different perspectives. And so we already have a DEI council in place. And it's been fun, as we started rolling out some of our online programming. We just finished a run of a show, Black and White News, which is pretty much an all BIPOC show. And so seeing those folks kind of take the lead in programming has been really cool. And it's been fun just because, for me, I'm all about, let's diversify, but also let's find partners to help us diversify. Let's find other organizations to help us diversify. So, with Black and White News, like rather than just say we're Second City and we're going to put on a diverse show, it was like, we're Second City. Here is an organization. It's Preach Improv, which is a group in Chicago that is all BIPOC performers. Let's partner together with you guys. Let's create a show. And so even in doing a show, it's not just Second City diversifying, but also uplifting other organizations and groups. The Black Improv Alliance is an organization that I'm super excited about and really enjoy what they're doing. And we partnered with them to they're trying to get 100 improv theaters or 100 scholarships throughout America and partnering with improv theaters. But they do this thing where if you want to be a part of them, you can't just give a scholarship. You have to do 5 scholarships at a time, and it has to be for the same class, because it's not just I want diversity in my class, but I also want people to feel comfortable, because I've had that experience of being the only Black person going into a level 1 improv class. And so setting it up where we're also going to help create a space in those improv classes for folks to feel accepted and wanted, and that's stuff that, we've just done in the last few months. And so moving forward, finding more opportunities to diversify our audience, to diversify our cast, to diversify leadership and staff. It's been a really cool experience, and I'm super excited for some of the other things that we're going to be doing down the road.
Well, and just to be real about how it works, if you come on board and you've also changed out who your casting director is, right? Like that's huge, right? That's how the majority of people enter the organization that are going to be performers. Yeah. So and it's even redefining what we mean, with Dad's Garage, you have these performers, and it's a little bit different than a traditional theater where you do a show and you leave. Like when you're talking about improv, these folks are here for a while. So it's also about developing that talent, right? It's not so much put this person in this show. It's also about what can we do to give this person the tools to make themselves better, to be a better performer, to be a better actor, to spend their time here at Second City, but then also go out into the world and be an example. And because that's what Second City is known for. It's not just the shows, it's the people that we produce. And so being really intentional about developing those people is going to be a major key moving forward. Can you talk about Dark Side of the Room, which is maybe one of my favorite improv troupes of all time and favorite ideas? Could you explain what the idea is?
Yes. So Dark Side of the Room is a all Black improv group out of Dad's Garage. And the premise of it is that we take a movie, a popular movie, a Star Wars, E.T., Indiana Jones, and then we do a long form set improvising what the Black people were doing while that movie was happening. And so it's really this kind of, it's like that perfect sort of combination of hilarious, fun idea, but also one of those things that's like, oh, we're going to do Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's like, oh, great. It takes place in Chicago. Oh, wait, there are no Black people in this movie. What were they all doing? It's that kind of great sort of we're having fun, but we're also do you see how this is a little bit weird and a little bit strange? Let's shed some light on that. Yeah.
It's always been one of my favorite groups of all time, just for that reason, that it's ridiculous and dumb, and yet the most present social commentary. And you watch audience after audience be like, where are the Black people in Ferris Bueller? It's like, you know, how did that not occur to them before this moment, right? And you're doing it through laughter, right? And you're doing it through comedy, which I think is a way that people are then more open, right? To be able to take that in and to rethink some things.
Yeah, and it's been cool too because it's, you know, obviously silly, funny, but like because of the commentary, we've been able to work with people that we wouldn't have been able to work with before. So, for example, True Colors Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a Black theater here, like we've been able to partner with them, and they have some monologue competitions that they run. And so we did a thing where we had them, like one of their kids kind of do one of their monologues that they had been doing for a competition, and then we did improv based on that monologue. And so it was a way of kind of melding these two ideas. We've got a chance to work with the Center for Civil and Human Rights out here in Atlanta, because their whole thing was like they're wanting to find taking the classic ideas of civil rights leaders and seeing where people are practically applying them to our lives now in modern day. And so the improv group was one of those groups that they really kind of identified and were like, how can we highlight this, show this, and show them as an example of what taking those ideas and using them in practical modern day, what it looks like. And so getting to work with all these cool groups that we wouldn't otherwise have had an opportunity to work with. Yeah. So
let me ask you this, just on a personal level. Does it screw with your head to now be the executive producer of Second City? I mean, you know, that's huge. Like, just walk us through what it's like when you figured out that you got the call and that you were going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge thing. I think it was a weird moment in my life because, you know, I have been an improviser and performer for most of my life. I just enjoyed doing it and it was great. But I turned 41 this year. I was definitely at a point where I still wanted to perform, but the thing that was giving me the most joy was helping other improvisers and helping build groups and teams and shows. And so getting to do that Dad's Garage was great. And I'm like, this is the pinnacle. This is the pinnacle of my career, is doing this stuff at Dad's Garage. And Anthony LeBlanc, who the current executive producer, he actually directed The Magic Negro here in Atlanta. It was a Mark Kendall's one-person show at the Alliance Theater. And so I got to know him when he was out here. And so he told me about the job, and I'm like, oh, well, this will be a good exercise. I'll get through a couple of rounds, meet some people, and it'll be a good networking experience. And I'll learn how to do this. And I kept going through the rounds, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going. They keep moving me to the next round. And then getting the actual call was like this insane, surreal moment. That was crazy because of Second City and what it stands for, what it means, and all that. But the thing that kind of helped me kind of calm my nerves a little bit is like, at the end of the day, it's what I had already been doing. It is about being an executive producer, is about helping other people find their voice, helping other people express themselves artistically, helping them be better performers. And it just is that same thing on a bigger stage. And that's the thing that I'm excited about, is having a hand and being a part of what the next generation of comedy is in America, and helping to be a part of what shapes that and what forms that. Because frankly, comedy is going through a big change right now, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
So you get there next Saturday?
I get there, yep. I'm there next Saturday.
And where do you live?
I live in the Loop, I think is what it's called. I feel I think the neighborhood is called the Loop. And it's right downtown. I'm like 30. I always say I'm a 30-minute walk from Second City, because when I get there, I'm going to walk every day to work. We'll see if that happens. Yeah. Like it's aspirational, but it's not too far. So I'm excited to be down there and working with everyone.
There's a pizza place that my fellow Chicagoans go to. It's called Pizza Fiesta. So I just want to throw that your way, because it's some of the best pizza I've ever had. And it's not deep dish, ironically enough. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's on the south side.
I will check that out.
So once you get settled, right, what let's say now we're 3 years from now. Like, what does Second City look like? How is it different now that you're there? Like, you have great things that you're putting in place, but really, like, how is the organization going to be different once you're settled, once you know where you live, once you found the pizza place and you've gotten to work?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way that it's different in a lot of different ways. Like, my vision, like, if you've ever been to Second City, Chicago, like, there are 6, 7 stages within that building that are all over the place. And so for me, my vision for Second City is when you walk in that building and it's a Saturday, 8:00, there is absolutely the traditional Second City review on one stage. But then in the other stage, there's something completely different. There's a one-person show that deals with race and that sort of thing. There's another show that is like gender identity on this other stage. There's another show that is just silly, fun, short form improv. There's another show and it's this idea that you can walk into this building and you have suddenly all these choices on the types of shows that you want to see. And you can walk in Saturday after Saturday and have a completely different experience depending on what stage, what theater, where you go, and kind of give a smorgasbord of comedy to our audience. And I think it's a lot of diversifying, not only, the cast, but diversifying the type of show that we do. Like, Second City does something very, very well. And at the core of it, it is great. But it's that question of like, what can we take that core, those central ideas of what makes Second City great, and then put it in different containers. It doesn't have to be all in the same container. I've done improv, I've done plays, I've done spoken word, I've done storytelling, but I've also done professional wrestling. And I would argue that that is just as much an art form as any of those things. And why does that have to be, why can't that be also a expression of art in some way? And how many different ways can we show that? And that's really what I want to try to bring to Second City.
Who was your wrestling character?
I know, I was just about to ask. What was your character name? What was your move?
That was my character name. Okay, so here's the thing. My character's name was Timmy McClendon. And the reason it is because I went to wrestling practice the first time I went, and I was nervous. I was so nervous that every time I tried to do like a wrestling, like a promo or something, my voice would crack and I would just be like, just nervous because of it. And so finally they're like, you know what? You're this young kid, Timmy McClendon, and you are a super dumb kid, but you're lovable and you're spunky. And I get out there and I go my little, intro, and the bad guy would just beat the crap out of me, and then the guy would come, and I'm like, I did my part, I'm wrestling. And then it was great.
They didn't give you a special move though, like the people's elbow? I was a big WWF friend. No, I have brothers.
I appreciate that's a great reference. No, because I didn't win. I didn't really win a lot, so he never got around to giving me a finishing move because it just didn't happen.
And you can't improv with wrestling, I would assume not.
Well, so that's the crazy thing about it was the reason I got into wrestling was because there was a performer at Dad's Garage who came in and he had a background in wrestling and he improvised with us and we did a couple of shows with him. But he really took a lot of the improv principles to his wrestling thing. So for him, like when you talk about a wrestling match, it's not two guys fighting, it's two guys telling a story. And so he really kind of approached each match and he would ask us, is like, what are you trying to say with this match? What is the message that you're trying to convey to the audience? And he taught us how to build a story physically through these wrestling matches. And so that was how we were kind of like, and that's where it started connecting with me, where it's just like, oh, okay, I can see how this is, like when it's done well. Like I've seen wrestling matches where like Coliseum filled with 30,000 people. At the end of it, everyone's crying because of how powerful and emotional that wrestling match was. And so it's like, it can be something different and interesting and cool. And I love playing with that kind of thing.
Were you there when the Iron Sheik came?
Yes, I was. I remember that story very well.
And I think smoked crack out behind the building?
Yeah. Yes.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, no, that's one of those stories where I'm like, how much detail do we want to give about this story? But yeah, it was absolutely the Iron Sheik. It was one of those crazy things where like, it was literally the week before a show and someone was like, I think the Iron Sheik lives around the corner. And so somebody was like, well, we all collected $20 and we're like, all right, we'll pay him $200 and he's going to come and do a show. And he did it. And then he just like smashed somebody over the head with a chair and it was just like, well, I'm done. And that was and everybody, it's the only format where like this guy comes in, randomly smashes a dude across the head with a chair and everybody's like, well done. He's a professional. Like, that was
for all of us that knew him in the 80s, we're like, this is the best night of my life. Like, I got hit with a chair by the Iron Sheik. Yeah.
I was an Ultimate Warrior fan personally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great one of those characters.
So Jon, how many days have you been on the job?
I think I actually started December 15th. Was my actually first day. And so, I guess I'm coming up on 3 months now. But it's one of those things where it's so weird, like doing theater now, as we can see, like you're doing Zoom meetings for most of the time. So it was kind of one of those things where there wasn't a huge rush for me to get down to Chicago because I would just be in Chicago having a bunch of Zoom meetings.
Right.
And so we're just kind of now at a point where we're starting to have those discussions about how we want to come back. Can we come back? What is some timelines? And so it's like, okay, now is the time for me to start getting out there and start making some decisions.
Can you share at all what Second City is thinking in terms of when they may be able to gather again?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that we can do something, summer, or late summer, early fall. That's the hope. I always say hope because I feel like this year has been me making plans 3 months in advance and then taking them and throwing them in the garbage and then making a new set of plans and then taking them and throwing them in the garbage. So I have plans and I have a giant garbage can if we need to throw them away. Yeah, because this has just been an insane time to create art. Yeah.
So what can you share with us? Like, what have the first 90 days been like? Like, what surprised you about it?
I think, I don't know that there was anything that was like a super curveball, but I think the thing that has impressed me about it is how excited everyone is. Mm-hmm. Like, I think from the outside, you can see it being like, the tendency is to feel like, oh, it's rough. This is a tough situation to be in. But when you're inside and the people are so excited about the future, I think people are excited about, what diversity does to the theater, and not only how it helps the theater overcome its issues, but how it adds to the theater, right? What are some of the things that we could never do that we'll be able to do now with a more diverse cast and diversity throughout the company? And I think that's the type of thing that people are excited about, and they're ready to go and to do and to be a part of the change. And I think that's the thing that makes me excited about it, because, it can be tough going into a situation where you're having to change the mind of the staff, and you're, the first couple of months are just fighting the staff. And this has been 100% people coming in and just like, we're ready, let's go. We're just waiting for you to get here to give us some commands and let's make this happen. And so that's been a really exciting and thrilling part of all of this.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal that you're walking into a place ready for you, right?
Yeah.
That wants to make change, that wants to push it forward.
Absolutely.
To be able to do it. But like, what surprised you, in terms of what it was?
The size, because it's, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's one of those things where everything that at Dad's Garage, we kind of like jokingly thought, man, wouldn't it be cool? Like, we were at Dad's Garage, we're like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we like at the end of going through your classes, you got like certification and that sort of thing. And then like get to Second City and like, we have a partnership with DePaul University and you can get credit. And I'm like, whoa, that's so awesome. It's been great seeing, like, because we have theaters in Toronto and Hollywood. And I think part of like the bright side of like the situation that we're in this year is we've been communicating with the other theaters so much more, and like the Hollywood training center has been like communicating with the Chicago, and we're like exchanging information and exchanging notes and sharing ideas, and it's been kind of this wonderful sort of like 1 second city that is just spans across North America, and it's been really it's huge in scope and was, you know, amazing when I walked in, but then seeing everybody taking ownership and loving and being passionate about their different areas, it was also exciting to be like, oh, we can make some really cool things happen as a single organization. And that really got me kind of wound up.
So while we are live, you know, we have, if anybody wants to put a comment in the Facebook chat, they have a question for Jon Carr, we're happy to take it and to be able to pass it on to him. Are you all still doing the cruise ships? Is that still a thing?
No, we actually discontinued the cruise ships. I believe it was like 2 years ago, a year or two ago. Well, I mean, obviously probably more than a year or two ago. But yeah, we ended the cruise ship contract. So we're no longer doing that, but we're still doing, we have a touring company, and that goes across the...
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hold on, who's this? Who's this young man?
Oh my God, I got ambushed.
So listen, we thought if we were really gonna do an interview with you, like we know some questions to ask you, but there's probably somebody that knows more to be able to get to the heart of what is going on with
Oh my God.
So this is former guest on the show and, you know, nationally known puppeteer, Raymond Carr. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Raymond.
Hi, everybody. Oh, hi, John.
Wow. Hello, Raymond.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Wait. So which one of you is older?
I am older.
No, you're supposed to let them guess.
No, I'm older by 2 years and 2 weeks. So I am the more mature and intelligent brother.
You don't look a day over 10 years older than me.
So Raymond Carr, what is it like to have your brother be the new executive producer of Second City? What's that about?
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
It's you know, it just goes to prove that affirmative action is alive and well.
Oh, this was such a good idea, Sean.
No, but like when you got the call that he had it, what did you think?
I mean, several questions came in my head. What? Why? How? What? No, look, this is it was cool to hear. It was surprising. I'm not used to John getting more attention than me, which I don't appreciate, but it's nice for to actually, like, you know, not have to worry about, you know, him as much. So yeah, it's great. I'm happy for him.
Now, you two grew up in a performing family, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, we were homeschooled by traveling Christian clowns. Yes.
So let's dive into that for a moment, because most guests don't say that. Can you just explain a little bit more about what that is?
Sure. So we were homeschooled, and basically our family, we had a family business. We would go around the country doing clowns, puppet, and magic shows for major
gospel illusions,
not magic, because that's the devil. It's gospel illusions for major Christian revivals and events that happened around the country. Basically, if you were in the 90s and there was a big, like, non-denominational mega church preacher doing an event, someone had to take care of the kids, and so they would stick us in a small room, and we would entertain 500 children with puppets and clowns and whatever we could do to get them to not revolt against us.
2 to 4 hours a night. Yeah.
Yeah.
These were long. They got the spirit, and it would go crazy.
Now,
My mom's a missionary. That is why I'm laughing.
So I guess maybe the connection is obvious, but like you're both performers, right? You're both. Jon is an improviser, an executive producer. Raymond, you're now a famous puppeteer, working everywhere. Did you guys know that you were going to become performers from this, or was it a natural progression, or did you fight against it?
What do you think, Raymond?
Well, to be clear, Jon's no longer a puppeteer. He's the man, right? You're part of the establishment. So, I don't know about him. I mean, I don't think, oftentimes when you're younger, you don't always know that the arts is an option. We were performers, but I don't think that my parents would ever consider themselves artists, even though they were very creative on all that kind of stuff. They were just ministers, and so I thought that I might do that, as a performer, being a pastor or a children's pastor or something like that, be in that vein, but not any sort of like larger entertainment. When we grew up in Southern California, we didn't know any actors or performers or anything. There was like one woman who was at a church we used to go to that was in Star Trek for a while. That was like the only like actor we really knew. So yeah, I don't think it was really an option for me.
No, and I think it was interesting because you're performing in front of 500 kids and you have a plan, but that plan's never going to go well. And you also have that in the back of your head is like, if they all decided to take over, they outnumber us. So it's this constant like moving of like keep them entertained, keep them distracted. And I think what it developed in us is this ability and willingness to entertain and try different things. And if something's not working, drop it and try something else. And so we were constantly evolving, constantly learning how to evolve, constantly learning how to work with an audience and understand, shape of show and all those type of things. And so I think the cool thing that it's translated to us as adults is we don't have as many of the sort of boundaries of this box here is art. Like we've tried everything, we've done everything, because when you're in front of 500 kids, you try everything and you do everything you can to keep them entertained. And so we've tried it and we've taken that for the rest of our lives. And we've had a lot of success in different arts industries, and we've had a lot of failures. I directed rap videos for 6 months, and that did not go well. But like it was that idea of like, let's try it, let's go for it, and see what happens, because we're truly people that we're not afraid of failure, because you can learn so much from failure. So why not just try it and see what happens?
I think it's also that we just didn't know any better. I mean, that's a very elegant way of trying to frame it in hindsight, but we didn't know no better. Like it was, and plus we just weren't educated. Like none of us have any kind of formal performance education. Jon is the only one in our immediate family who has a college degree. I'm about 10 credits away from finishing my college degree that's very old at this point. So we were just, seat of the pants kind of performance. It was more like vaudeville than anything else, where we would have like a couple of acts that we knew the basic structure for. My mom would just write it down on a piece of paper. And I was the one that was begging us to like rehearse more and like to structure some stuff out. And they were like, I'll just. So yeah.
I think that's Black church moms, though, because, no, seriously, my mom's a choir president, and she'll be like, okay, Chanel, sing alto, sing soprano, sing tenor, help the boys out. And I'm like, what? And then she'll just, like, completely make up a song on the spot that we didn't rehearse the day before, and all the kids in the church will be pissed at my mom. And I'm like, just follow her. That's how she rolls. So it's a part of that culture that just, like, fly by the seat of your pants and improv. So I don't think I'm a good improver, but if I think of it back in that vein, then yeah, on the spot singing and stuff like that, I could do.
Absolutely.
You know what I really love about this, Jon, and I feel like I go through this all the time. Like, I'm trying to be a professional leader of an arts organization, and then sometimes our friends come on the show, and I get this look in my eye, like, I thought this was a good idea. I instantly regret this choice because I don't know where this is gonna go. But I enjoy a little bit of chaos. And so, you're in the same spot. Like you're an important person. You're trying to run an organization.
Is he though?
and will Raymond play along? Will he not? We'll all find out together at the same moment.
But I've been playing along my whole life, so I don't know what.
Good Lord.
Who got in trouble more out of the two of you when you were
Raymond.
kids?
Yeah,
Raymond.
me.
Raymond, 100%. He was the strong-willed child, as my mother would explain it.
But that's the thing about having parents who do like workshops and stuff for children and also for parents. You get a lot of stories told about you. So that's the term that I was coined, the strong-willed child. But I'm also like the better child at this point. Like I'm the one that remembers. I'm the one that.
That is subjective at the least.
I mean, like we won't ask them, but like I'm the one who remembers birthdays and did you call Dad on his birthday?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
so I didn't forget.
I went to their house and dropped off the gift that I thought of that I forced you to do with me. So yeah, I'm just a little like so I made up for it in my adult life. But yeah, I was definitely the strong-willed child.
You can tell that by the shirt you got on. I love it.
I'm trying to be professional. I've got my button down, looking professional, and
I know you got it all. Yeah. Raymond is just floating over Atlanta somewhere. Who knows? Right? Yeah.
No, but it is weird, like having been at a theater like Dad's Garage for so long, and like having grown up there, I've had some of my most embarrassing moments at Dad's Garage, and some of my happiest moments, and some of my worst moments, and you never know. And it's nice, kind of starting fresh in this new place, the Second City. But every once in a while, someone come up and remember that time you had an allergic reaction to peanut butter on stage, and like you have to like you have to be like, oh yeah, I totally remember that. Oh. Yeah.
So we have a little bit of time just left before we go. Raymond, would you just give us like the briefest update on what you've been up to since we last saw you, since you've had some cool things happen?
I don't remember the last time you saw me. So I'll just have to be
It was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Was it? Jesus Christ. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I got engaged last weekend, or 2 weekends ago.
And can I correct this? Did your fiance break her foot while you were proposing?
No, like about 45 minutes after I proposed.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you explain how that happened?
She was running away from me after I asked her.
That tracks. That sounds about right.
Fair, we had just met that day, so no. No, she was. It was that would be way more interesting than the reality where she just was walking downstairs and she tripped and fell. So now she is in a cast on our couch right now, waiting for me to get off this phone to help her with everything. Yeah, no, we I made some movies, did some shows, worked, I go back and forth at the Jim Henson Company. So I have 3 or 4 shows that you can stream now that I'm on Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, and we got into the Atlanta Film Festival movie of mine. I puppeteered the Aflac Duck the other week.
Aren't you like on the board of Jim Henson or something?
Oh yeah. I'm on the board of the Jim Henson Foundation now.
Awesome.
You gotta say the right thing.
I know this is the Aflac Duck is where his mind went. Thank you, John, for bringing him back to be on the board of the Jim Henson Foundation.
That's where honestly, that's where people keep freaking out when I tell them that. But yeah, so a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Well, listen, Raymond, thank you for coming on. Thank you for crashing our interview with John. Do you have any last questions you want to ask John before you go?
Yeah, you missed a couple of buttons I can see. Was that intentionally?
Well, hey, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us, Raymond.
You know, I mean, okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Well, normally our guests do give us a word before they leave. So, Raymond, do you have a word that you'd like to leave us with that encapsulates how you feel at this moment or where you are at this time?
I feel satisfied by this process. Yes. Yes.
You successfully embarrassed me. Yes.
Yeah. My favorite, I gotta say, my favorite thing that John's moving out of town from Atlanta in the next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend.
Oh wow. My favorite thing growing up was to surprise him in different ways, getting creative ways to like hit him, and just throw things at him. And I am gonna miss and we just got pictures done last weekend, and I was able to punch him in the stomach. So while taking pictures, so I am gonna miss physically hurting him. So.
You know, as someone who has two brothers, that's kind of sweet. That's kind of sweet.
It is a little sweet. I
For
got
the
two
middle
brothers
child,
too.
so about as much as we're gonna get, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Our love language is getting punched in the kidneys. So.
Yeah. I toughened him up. I really did. I did. All right, that's it.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Raymond Carr.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Tell your fiance thank you for letting you play with us while she's hurting on a couch.
Oh wow. Well, there you go. Guys, roll with the punches.
That's with you now in all your interview requests. You're like, no, Raymond Carr. Whatever happens.
That's now in my writer from now on.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so interesting. It's you know, I know we talk a lot about like your guys' history, but your parents must be so proud. I mean, both of you, I feel like at the top of your game in terms of what you do. Like Second City is the top of the improv world, and the Henson Foundation is the top of the puppet world. I mean, the two of you, it would be hard for the two of you to climb higher.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's one of the things that makes me happy and excited is the fact that like as great as everything was, my parents would be ecstatic if I was assistant manager at McDonald's. Like that's the type of supportive people that they are, and that for them, it was less important that we do anything specific and more important that we were following our passions, following what excited us and what we wanted to do. And I think I can speak for Raymond in this. I don't know that we really had ambitions of like, we're going to take over this company or we're going to be top of this. It was more of, we want to do things that make us happy and help other people. And that's been my mantra for the whole time is find a need and meet it. And if you do that, people will create jobs, positions, they'll put you in leadership positions if you just have the mantra of find a need, meet the need.
No, that's that doesn't sound like something Raymond would say. So I'm glad to have you.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Do you have a word that you want to share with us? You know, we have his is satisfied.
Yeah. I think my word is future. I think that's really what it is. I mean, I feel like, Sean, you experienced this has been one of the more difficult times to be an arts leader in America right now. And it sucks because I had kind of just stepped into roles of leadership and was kind of hit with everything. And it's been fun. It's been funny talking to other people in leadership and they're being like, it's not always this bad. It's not always, it gets better. And I think for me, the great thing is, you know, you're nervous when you step into leadership, you're wanting to do well, and you're wondering about if you have what it takes to do it. And I think one of the nice things is there's a lot of new leaders that are coming up and being developed right now. And it's great to see them here because as tough as it is, if we can get through this, we can get through anything. If we can survive this, we can survive anything. And to look at some of my peers and some of the other folks that are doing great things in this time, it makes me so excited for when things are back to whatever normal looks like and how much more we could do because we've overcome this, we've fought through it, we are better people, better organizations because of this time. And now the sky's the limit. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for the future of Second City, but the future of the arts community as a whole in America.
Yeah. No, I think that's beautiful to hear. And and this is why, like, I've known you forever. Like, I'm so excited for you to step into this because I feel like people are hungry to hear that message.
Yeah.
And I think people are hungry for, even in the regional theater, which is different than improv, right? There was this huge turnover. Like a third of Lort theaters got new leaders seconds before the virus hit. And a lot of people have been like, oh, that's terrible timing. And I was like, or it might be the thing that saves us, because you get a bunch of people who are game to dive in and do it and weren't already retired or on their way out, because it's true. It's a fight. It's a fight every day. And to your point, like, we were joking the other day, like I've planned like 5 seasons now in the last 9 months. We plan it, we put it together, we budget it, we announce it, we delay it, we start again, and it's just like, I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't care, if I didn't really care and didn't believe that when we get to the other end, it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah. And how easy will it be for us to be in a position where we'll put together 1 season and it just happens. And I'm going to be like, holy cow, that's amazing.
Right. I know.
Like you put a plan together and then you do it. This is incredible.
I know. It'd be crazy. Well, listen, Jon, thank you so much for coming on the show. I so appreciate it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of everything that you've done. And I just can't wait to hear about success after success that you're having there.
I appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for all the advice and support you've given me over the years. And I look forward to a continued great relationship.
And next time we won't have Raymond on, I promise.
Right. And that is going to be a deal breaker. So
that's right. Yeah.
It was so nice meeting you. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you so much, Jon.
So we have exciting things coming up this week, don't we, Sean?
We do. We do
something you might have directed, yes?
So starting this Wednesday is going to be Elaine Romero's Halstead that we're putting together. And for people that don't, or maybe that saw our concert earlier, Benjamin Scheuer, who is a singer-songwriter, did original music for the underscoring, which plays a small part in it, but just kind of knows the level of people that we're working with, right, to be able to join us that are diving in. And if you don't know the story of Halstead, it is also similar to Lauren's piece. It's autobiographical. Elaine Romero wrote it about her wanting to learn. Her husband had a stroke, and she wanted to really learn what does it mean to love somebody again, to fall in love with them a second time when language isn't a part of how you do it. If you can't talk to them in the same way, and of course she's a writer, right?
So that's beautiful.
Words have always been the way that she has done everything in the world, right? So if you have to love somebody again, but you can't use words when that's your tool, how do you learn to love them again? And so it's a really beautiful piece to be able to dive in. And I can't wait to share it. And I also think here's an exciting part about Elaine's work that is important for the contextualizing of it. On the Tuesday we did it, it was the first time she had ever heard it read out loud with actors in every role. So the day that we filmed it to be able to go out was day 6 of her working on it. So we're sharing with our audience what a play is like at the beginning, at such a personal play. If you want to imagine that putting together a play is 3 years, here's what it looks like on day 6 to be able to share it with our audience. So yeah.
And there were rewrites too, right? Like you were getting like
we sent the actors an entirely new script every day of rehearsal for 6 days, including the day of the reading. Wow. They got sent, they looked it over. Oh my God, these actors are such pros. They rolled with it but for them to be able to do it. So I can't wait to share Halstead by Elaine Romero this Wednesday at 5:00. So you can check it out on our Facebook page or on our website.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Hang and Focus. And we're going to take it on over to our call board. Hi.
Thank you, everybody.
This is your call board for March 5th through 11th, 2021. Hi, I'm Will Rogers, Community Engagement Manager for Arizona Theater Company. And thank you so much for joining us for today's Hang in Focus, where Sean welcomed Jon Carr, the executive producer of Second City. So check out this episode. And if you have, please like it. Please ring that bell. Please follow us and subscribe to us. That means a lot if you do. Now let's head on over to the Giving Corner and see what development has in store for us.
Hi, everybody. It's Paula Taylor, the Chief Development Officer at Arizona Theater Company. Today, we'd like to thank a foundation fueled by personal passion. The Lovell Foundation grew from the passions and life experiences of founders David and Laura Lovell. Together, they dealt with monumental challenges and opportunities by connecting with others, crusading for change, creating successes, and experiencing peace and joy. Established in 1994, this family foundation continues to embrace causes close to their hearts. In its first 20 years, the foundation invested $11 million in 60 nonprofit organizations for local and national projects supporting people and programs that empower lives, provide opportunities, and improve conditions, and ultimately advance community. Today, the foundation is propelled by the passions of the second and third generations of the Lovell family, and we can't thank them enough. We're so honored to be part of this organization's mission. Arizona Theater Company wouldn't be able to do what we do without foundations like the Lovell Foundation, and so many other nonprofits in our state wouldn't be able to do it either. Thank you so much for supporting us and so many others. And have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I'll see you next week.
As you know, March is Romero Fest, the celebration of ATC playwright in residence Elaine Romero. The remainder of our Hang and Focus episodes in March will celebrate Romero Fest. Next week, Sean will welcome Karen Zacharias, playwright of Native Gardens and winner of the National Latinx Playwriting Award. On March 19th, we'll welcome representatives from all of the Arizona theaters in Romero Fest. And on the 26th, we'll reflect back on Romero Fest and have some special surprise guests. Romero Fest gets kicked off in high gear next week when we premiere the reading of Halstead, Elaine Romero's newest play. So have a great weekend, everyone, and don't forget to check out Romero Fest and see.